Good morning. Thank you for joining today. My name is Melissa, and I'm here to lead you through sunrise stretch. We will practice together for 25 minutes. So just a reminder to listen to your body. If any of the stretches are not working for you, you can always skip them, come out and modify. And things that you may want for the class today is it's nice to have a yoga mat, so you have a little support, a little padding. And if you wanted to have a yoga block and a yoga blanket, you can grab those as well. Just they'll give you a little, extra support in some of the stretches, but you don't have to have them. If you don't have them, you can easily work around them throughout the class today. Great, so let's get started. We're gonna come down to a comfortable seated position. And feel free to sit on a block if you wanted. That will just help to lift your hips a little bit higher than your knees to take a bit of pressure off of the knees. And let's start with our shoulders here. So we'll take a nice full breath in, take your shoulders up, back, and down. Inhale and exhale. Let's go one more time. Shoulders up, back, and down. Great. Now let's bring our right hand up and over. We are going to reach for the left side of the head. Nice full breath here to lengthen. And soften your right ear to your right shoulder. And not trying to move with force on this one, just a nice gentle suggestion of the ear to the shoulder. And then gently releasing. We'll realign here. Left hand up and over, nice full breath to lengthen, and let's bring that left ear to the left shoulder. Bring that release right into the neck. Good, let's realign here. Right hand reaches up and over, and this time gaze to the underarm area, and then gently encourage the head into the stretch. So we'll just gently draw that head down. And just see how the different muscles are working and see how that might change the stretch up a little bit. Back to neutral, realign. Left hand up and over, gaze to the underarm area, and then gently encourage the head down. And release. We'll realign here. Right hand lowers down to the mat this time. Let's bring our left arm up and over, bringing ourselves into a side stretch. And we're just going to hold and pause here. So as we're breathing, this is going to give us that nice lateral stretch for the spine. Try to roll your left shoulder back. Right shoulder draws under slightly. Back to neutral, left hand down, right hand rises, full breath in. If you feel the right sitting bone kind of lifting and rising from the mat, try to press it down, glue it down, get that nice even connection here. Back and up to center, let's realign here, nice full breath to lengthen, walk your hands out in front and give yourself a fold forward as you exhale. And you can just gently relax your head if you'd like. Let your head hang heavy like a weight. Maybe try to gaze towards the navel just to see if you can relax the head a little bit more. Walking your hands into your body. It's flowing up through the spine. Let's bring ourselves down into the back. We'll work a little bit with our backs. So as you come down onto your back, set up for a bridge pose, and we'll take a bridge pose with movement here. So for this one, feet are in line with your hips, knees are bent, and gently grounding into your feet, allow for your tailbone to tuck. Let's begin to lift our low back from the mat, and then mid back lifts from the mat. And then tailbone will tuck. Let's lower the mid back down and take your low back down. Tailbone tucks, low back lifts, mid back lifts. Tailbone tucks, mid back lowers, and low back lowers. And we are just going to flow here with our breaths. Lengthen your spine as you inhale. Lengthen your spine as you exhale. As you inhale, feel each vertebrae lift from the mat. Also feel the space between the vertebrae lifting from the mat. And then as you lower, feel each vertebrae lowering. And also feel the space between the vertebrae lowering. Letting this one go. So tailbone will tuck, upper, mid, and low back relax down. Bring the soles of your feet to touch. Take your knees apart, and we're going to land in Supta Baddha Konasana, bound angle. Now for this one, if you wanted to take the hands on your body and then let the eyes close for a moment. And this is a wonderful reset for the spine after those back bends. It's going to give you a really nice hip stretch, nice leg stretch. With the help of the hands, let's bring our knees into our chest, arms, hands around knees or shins, and let's do a little rock to the right and a gentle rock to the left. From here, we are going to work with a pose called Sleeping Tiger. And for this one, extend your legs right on up to the sky. And you'll want to engage your core so that you can try to glue your mid back down into the mat, and you might feel that your low back lifts from the mat a little bit. Now take your hands up towards the sky, and we're just going to take a moment to point the toes and reach and stretch out through the fingertips, almost like you're trying to take those fingertips right on up to the sky. And then flex your feet. We're going to tense those hands, so create fists. Begin to point and reach out through those fingertips. And flex, create those fists. And one more time, point through those toes. And flex through the feet. Now let's bring this into circular movement. So we are just going to circle our ankles and circle our feet. And circle in the other direction. Good, and letting that one go. Knees into the chest. Gentle rock to the right and gentle rock to the left. Feet come out nice and wide to the edges of your mat. Knees will be bent, and begin to drop your knees to the right and to the left. So we will just windshield wipe the knees side to side. And giving yourself a moment to pause. Drop your knees off towards the left. And then as your knees are dropped to the left, make sure that the feet, there's some distance between them. Your left foot will pick up. Hook your left foot on your right knee. And then let your legs get really heavy here and just sinking off to the left. So this is going to give you a nice IT band stretch, and it's going to help to get into the waist and into the side of the body a little bit. And we can just pause and hold it here. So maybe close your eyes. And just simply noticing where you feel the stretch in your body. Experience each pose so differently. So maybe feeling the stretch through the legs, maybe through the side body. And release. Let's bring our feet nice and wide. Rock your knees to the right and to the left. Let's take those knees off to the right this time. And your right foot lifts up. Take your right foot and hook it on the left knee. So just take your heel and hook it on the knee. Sometimes we think this is a spinal twist and we really wrap the legs up. And that's not what's going on here. It's just a simple hooking your knee or hooking your foot on your knee. And then just dropping everything off to the side here. Good. And just another important alignment cue before you hook your foot on the knee is to make sure that those feet stay wide. Sometimes we bring our feet into the center a little bit too much. We do really need that wide stance between the feet just to get into the stretch a little bit better. And release. Let's take our feet out nice and wide to the edges of the mat. Knees are bent and drop your knees to the right and drop your knees to the left. Knees come to the chest, hug them in. Let's do a rock and roll up to seated. So you'll just hug those knees to your chest. Come on up into seated. And then as we take seated here, let's circle the torso a little bit. So we are just going to gently shift the weight around from side to side. And this will be great movement for getting into your low back. We'll get into the mid, into the upper back. And then also great for getting into the sides of the body a little bit. So we'll just find a little bit of length and we'll find a bit of space here. And begin to circle in the other direction. And then as you're circling here, just feeling your body reacting to the movements. As you shift your weight off towards the right, maybe feel the left sitting bone, maybe feel the left leg lifting up and lifting off of the ground. Good, let's bring it back to neutral. We're gonna float it into a tabletop. And as you come into table, grab a blanket if you would like to pad the knees. And then we'll take our knees, our hips in line. We will bring our wrists, our shoulders in line and feel the fingers fan out nice and wide here. So we'll press down through the index finger and press down through the thumb. Let's take a moment here to look off the right shoulder. So gaze back for your right toes. Come back to neutral. Let's lower the stomach down. Lift up through your heart. Come back to neutral. Gaze off your left shoulder. Back for those back toes. Neutral here. Chin to your chest and exhale. Let's round through the back. Neutral spine. Let's float through that again. Gaze off your right shoulder. Lateral stretch for the spine. Neutral spine. Lower your stomach. Lift your heart. Neutral spine. Gaze off your left shoulder. Neutral spine and chin to your chest as you exhale. Take your breath here. Let's bring it to a child's pose. So hips begin to lower down to the heels as you exhale. And on this one, we have a couple options. So one option is your knees are together, and that's going to help you to open up your low back. And you can also take your big toes to touch and let your knees move away from one another. And that will give you a really nice leg stretch and a nice hip stretch. Walking your hands to the right, let's land in a little side stretch here in our child's position, Garabasana.
And as you take your hands to the right, try to press in through that left sitting bone. We don't want that left sitting bone to lift up and rise too much.
Come back to center. Let's take our hands to the other side. And release. Let's split ourselves back to center, back into child's pose. Let's press to a down dog as you exhale. Toes curl under, sitting bones to the sky. And let's shake it out a little bit here. So it may feel nice to bend one knee, to bend the other knee, and relax your head yes, and relax your head no. So as we start on this one, you may just want to gaze maybe at the space that's between the legs, just to try to relax your head. Press through your index finger and press through your thumb. Fan the fingers out really widely here. And toes to the hands. Let's bring it forward into a fold. And then as you take your fold, let's shake it out here as well. So it may feel nice to bend one knee, to bend the other knee, and relax your head yes, and relax your head no. As you find stillness, hands to the right side stretch in your forward folds. Ground evenly through both of your feet, inside and outside of each foot. Come back to center. Let's bring those hands to the other side, reaching and stretching from the waist. Lengthen the side body, the arm, and the fingertips. Let's bring ourselves back to center, back on through into a fold. Bring your hands to your shins. Let's lift the spine and lengthen through the spine. Fold yourself down. Come on up. We will rise into a mountain pose. Draw your hands at your heart as you exhale. Let's take our hands to the sky. Our fingers will interlock and we'll press our palms up. So we'll take a nice deep full breath here to lengthen. Now let's do a little wiggle in the waist from side to side. So we will gently shift the hands to the right and shift your hands to the left. And each time try to reach and stretch up and out of the waist a little bit more. Give yourself that moment to pause. Let's release our hands off towards the left. And try to feel your right hip pressing to the right. So just guiding you a little deeper here. Back to center. Nice full breath here to lengthen and release your hands up towards the right. Try to ground evenly through both of your feet, inside and outside of each foot. And then back to center. Let's realign here. Gently relax your hands down. Fingers will interlock, palms will touch. Nice full breath here to lengthen and fold yourself down as you exhale. Try to relax the fronts of your shoulders and just noticing if that helps you move a little deeper into the shoulder stretch. Hands onto the low back, hands down towards the ground, and then let's float on up through the spine. We'll come on up one vertebrae at a time. As you come on up to stand, let's take our shoulders up, back, and down. Hands will come together. Fingers will interlock, palms will touch, and circle out through the wrists here. So maybe find large circles and maybe find smaller circles. And circle in the other direction. And release. Let's take our hands together at prayer. Pressing the hands firmly together. Let's begin to flip our wrists over. Prayer fingers point down and then try to draw those prayer hands up a little bit. And as you do that, the palms may try to peel away from one another. So try to keep those glued together. Good. Let's take our prayer hands up. Try to relax your shoulders from your ears. Flip your wrists over, glue those palms together, and then try to relax your shoulders from your ears. Let's try that again. Flip those prayer hands up. Press nice and firmly together. Flip it over, fingertips point down, and then glue those palms together. Good. Let's shake out our wrists of any tension we may be holding onto here. Hands will come together. Prayer position. Now keeping your hands together in prayer, let's just gently shift our prayer hands off to the right. And as we do this, you may feel different muscles working. Come back to center. Let's make nice full breath here. Let's lengthen our spine. Find that really nice posture. Hands to the left. Good. And back on through the center. Nice full breath to lengthen. Draw your hands to the right. Try to relax your shoulders away from your ears. Create a little bit of space here between the ears and the shoulders. Come back to center. Release your hands off towards the left. And release back to center. And draw your hands off towards the right. And back to center. Let's go to the left one last time. Relax your shoulders from your ears. Good. Let's give it a nice little shake out here. And let's try one more release of the wrists. I know throughout the day, the wrists get such a beating. They do so much for us, and give them a nice little stretch and give them a refresh. Let's bring our hands together at prayer. And you are going to take your left hand and press really firmly into your right fingertips, and the palms are actually going to pull from one another this time. So let's begin to press our fingertips off towards the right. We're just going to let that left hand draw us into that wrist stretch. Come back to neutral. Let's realign. Take your right fingertips, press into the left. Let the palms peel from one another. Great. Let's come back to neutral. Realign here. Fingertips press off towards the right. Get into those wrists. You might be able to feel that opening in that stretch a little bit. Back to neutral. Fingertips press to the left. Great. Back to neutral. Let's float those fingertips to the right. And realign. Fingertips press to the left. Great. Let's take that one out. Try to release any tension here in those wrists. Get your circulation and blood flowing right to your fingertips. Bring your palms together. Fingers interlock, palms will touch and circle out through the wrists. So I love this simple wrist circle, and I incorporate this into my day quite a bit, especially if I feel that I've been on the phone a little bit too much and the wrists are feeling fatigued, or I'm typing quite a bit. This is just a wonderful little reset for the wrists. And we are going to circle in the other direction. So you'll just reverse that movement. And if you don't do the stretch very often, the circling, when you circle in the opposite direction, it might be very challenging. It can take a little time for that to feel easier. Good. And release. We can give those wrists a nice shake out. And gently relax your hands down. Take a nice breath in. Draw your shoulders up, back, and down. Thank you so much for joining today. It's really great to be here with you. Wonderful way to start the day. I hope that you're feeling a bit better, and I hope this helps you set the pace for your day today. Enjoy the day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.